He told us that not one single substantive allegation in the dossier was ever corroborated, ever validated, yet it was used to spy on an American citizen associated with the presidential campaign. He told us there was no proper predicate for opening the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, and maybe most importantly, he told us the FBI, the preeminent law enforcement agency in the world, failed in its fundamental mission of adherence to the rule of law. And unfortunately, I think once again, the Democrats will say, we don't care. It doesn't matter. We're never going to stop going after President Trump. In fact, 8 days ago, we saw how far they are willing to go with the indictment of President Trump. But frankly, this shouldn't surprise us. They told us their objective. In fact, it was an agent on the case of Crossfire Hurricane who told us what their objective was. We all remember the text message from Peter Strzok where he said, "Don't worry, we'll stop Trump." It started with the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. Mr. Durham has told us how wrong that was. Now we have an indictment of a former president who's winning in every single poll by his opponent's Justice Department. And in between those two events, we had the Mueller investigation, we had impeachment, we had 51 former intel officials falsely tell us the Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. We had a raid on President Trump's home, and of course we got Alvin Bragg's ridiculous case in New York. 7 years, nothing has changed. And frankly, they're never going to stop. 7 years of attacking Trump is scary enough, but what's more frightening, any one of us could be next. In fact, it's already started. Parents at school board meetings are terrorists. Pro-life Catholics are extremists. Even journalists aren't safe. Federal Trade Commission, 13 letters. One of those letters to Twitter said, "Who are the journalists you're talking to?" Think about that. They named 4 people personally. 2 come and testify in front of this committee. While they're in front of this committee, Democrats are asking them to reveal their sources, violate First Amendment principles. One of them, Matt Taibbi, while he's sitting at that table testifying to the Judiciary Committee, the IRS is knocking on his door. Parents, Catholics, journalists, but guess who gets it the worst? Guess who gets it the worst? Whistleblowers. If you dare come forward and tell Congress what's going on, look out. They will come for you. They will take your clearance. They will take your pay. They'll even take your kids' clothes. Just ask Garrett O'Boyle, who testified in front of this committee as well. Over the next few hours, we're going to hear the facts and details about the whole false Trump-Russian narrative, the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, and hopefully it will help change things at the Department of Justice. But regardless of what the Biden administration and the Garland Justice Department do, I know what Republicans in the House are committed to doing. We will work to dramatically change the FISA law, and we will do everything we can in the appropriations process to stop the federal government from going after the American people.
My 3 big takeaways from John Durham's testimony before the House Judiciary Committee hearing. Number 1, the bad actors in this massive government corruption scandal are unrepentant and unpunished. Elected Democrats, some of whom have spread the Russian collusion hoax for years, shamelessly continued at the hearing to push false narratives about President Trump. The Durham investigation resulted in criminal charges against 3 individuals, Igor Danchenko and Michael Sussman, both of whom were found not guilty, and a 3rd individual pleaded guilty to doctoring an email about a surveillance warrant. No one is being held responsible in any meaningful way. Number 2, the bad actors aren't stopping at Trump. They're coming for everyday Americans, from parents at school board meetings to whistleblowers, anyone who dares question them. These bad actors pose a threat to our individual liberties and freedoms. And number 3, we need Congress to make fundamental changes to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the so-called FISA law. It has been abused and will continue to be abused until Congress either reforms or repeals it. Like a lot of you, it's hard to feel good about any of what is going on in Washington these days. Even when corruption is exposed, no one is held accountable in any meaningful way. Ultimately, I believe the right will prevail and the wrong shall fail. That is why we must keep soldiering on in defense of liberty and freedom. If you agree, please comment below. Tell me more about what we can do here. And share this video with your friends and subscribe to Americans for Limited Government on YouTube and Rumble.